Can you hear me, Alex?
Yeah, mate, I can hear and see you fine.
Right, so a couple more people might trickle in, but we'll get started. So welcome everybody to tonight's workshop. It's called The Right to Exist. And this workshop is all about empowerment. Empowerment, becoming empowered, stepping into our power, discovering our light, discovering that within us which is beyond fear, discovering that within us which is courageous, that within us which feels okay in this world, that within us which feels good, which feels bright, which feels empowered. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Chris. I'm a meditation teacher, spiritual mentor, embodiment coach, different labels. I also have a master's degree in psychology. And I'm joined by Alex. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Hey guys. Yeah, I'm Alex. I'm a therapist, psychotherapist, and a bioenergetics teacher. Bioenergetics is what we're going to practice in a short while. So I look forward to guiding us through the right to exist exercises. Yeah.
Great. So how it's going to go down is I'm going to give a little talk, and I'm just going to talk about empowerment. And it's going to be slightly experiential, or quite experiential. I'm not talking to give information. I'm talking because I'm wanting to transmit or draw you into an experience of what I'm talking about. So as you follow along, if I give guidance, then follow along with your attention, follow along in your own experience to what I'm pointing towards. So after I've spoken for a little while and given some guidance, then I'll pass the baton over to Alex, and he's going to go into some bioenergetics exercises, which is a movement practice. And these are really powerful exercises for getting in touch with your power, for getting in touch with, the right to exist, the feeling that something in you deserves to be here, deserves to shine brightly, that you don't have to be small, that you can share your gifts and shine brightly in the world. So I'm going to dive straight in. Before the workshop started, I was thinking, okay, what are some of the main points to do with this topic? And I wrote down 3 points that I want to talk about. The first point is more of a practical point, some practical advice on what you can do in life to become more empowered. The second point is a little bit more to do with our feelings. And the third point is more to do with our spirit, what we are beyond the body and mind. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is very simple, but lots of us don't do this. And that is to move towards in life that which you are afraid of. Many of us in life are living within very restricted comfort zones. We have become comfortable the way that things are, and we don't push past those comfort zones. What lots of humans do is they see fear as this red light, this indication that they need to not do something. And what that can do is it can keep you within your comfort zone. Now, in order to really start stepping into our power, instead of seeing fear as this red light that we need to stop, that we need to not move towards something, that we need to not do something, we need to see that if we're ever in life wanting to do something, interested in doing something, but fear says no, we need to see that as a green light. We need to see that as an indication that we move towards that. That's an area where we can expand our comfort zone. That's an area where we can expand our lives. Now, I used to live a life very small, incredibly shy. And I was in this very constricted comfort zone. And I didn't even really know I was in that constricted comfort zone. That was just the way that life was. There were certain things that I said I could not do. I can't do that. That's not possible for me. But then I learned about this teaching, this very basic teaching of stepping over your comfort zone. And I learned that in order to really grow, in order to really become empowered, in order to really become happy in the person that you want to be, you need to start walking towards these fears. So I'd write a list of a few things every night before I went to bed that I was afraid to do. So it might have been, and I was very, very shy. So these were little things like go to a boxing class or speak to someone at the bus stop. I would write it down the night before and then I would go and do it. And every time I did something I was afraid of, every time I did something that I was scared of, I became a little bit more empowered inside, I grew a little bit more inside. I expanded a little bit more inside. And then these things that I was scared of kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it got to the point where I was running workshops for 100 people in a big room, traveling the world, doing all sorts of stuff, all because of slowly pushing out of this comfort zone. So this is the number one, very basic, very simple thing that we need to do in order to become more empowered, is see, where is your comfort zone? Where are your fears? Where are there certain things that you're not doing, which you would love to do? What would your life be like if you were in the full, authentic expression of who you really want to be? If you were truly fearless, what would you be doing in your life? If there was truly no fear, what would you be doing in your life? Would you be living where you are now? Would you be in the job that you're in now? Would you be in the relationships that you're in now? If there was truly no fear. Now, we can't suddenly come out of the life we're in and go straight into the life that we want overnight. We progress towards it. And the way that we progress towards it is by slowly moving through fears bit by bit and expanding and expanding and expanding. And this wakes something up in your belly. The belly is the power center. The belly is the power center. Right now, I'm going to suggest that we all feel into the belly. So can all of you just place one hand on the solar plexus or on the belly, wherever you feel that power, wherever you feel your power center is, just feel into your belly. Feel into your belly. Most of us are living from our minds. We're living from our thinking minds. The thinking mind, the conditioned thinking mind, is disempowered by definition. The conditioned thinking mind was created out of disempowerment. And so one of the ways we can become empowered is by coming out of that thinking mind and back into the body, back into the belly, feeling the belly. So I'm going to move on to point number 2, which I've written down as feeling over thinking, feeling and transmuting overthinking. So I want you all to think of a time when you felt small, you felt disempowered. Someone's done something to you that might have, you felt was wrong, and you felt angry and disempowered. Now, what happens when this happens, when someone does something, or when something happens that triggers you and brings you into the thinking? if you start going into thinking and thinking all these stories about whatever it is, then what you're empowering there is the mind. You're empowering the thinking mind. You're empowering the stories in the mind. You might be empowering a victim story in the head. So you have a choice when you notice that you're being pulled into this thinking in the mind, when something's triggered you and you've been pulled into the thinking in the mind, you have a choice. What are you going to empower? Are you going to empower that thinking? Are you going to give fuel to that thinking and empower that thinking? Or you can come into the body, into the feeling, because it's the feelings in the body which fuel the thinking. So when you withdraw attention away from the thinking and you come into, where am I feeling this feeling in the body? And you stay with it, you stay with it. You don't think about the situation. You don't think about the emotions. You just feel them. You feel your body. You stay with the charge in your body. Now, what this does is all of these emotions, all the emotions we have in the body, they have a certain power, a certain life force energy within them. So if you meet the energy of fear in the body, when it's contracted down like this and creating thinking, you're disempowered by the fear. But when you feel the fear, directly feel the energy of the fear, that contracted density of energy, it starts to open up. It starts to open up. And that is your life force energy opening up within your nervous system. That is your life force energy opening up within your body. Every emotion, every difficult, painful emotion has a divine quality, Fear has a divine quality. When it opens up, when you meet it and it opens up, has a divine quality of this absolute aliveness and sensitivity. Now, one of the most empowering emotions, which can also be one of the most disempowering emotions, is anger and rage. Most of us have anger inside, especially if we've been very people-pleasing. If we had strict parents, we can have a lot of anger inside of us. We can carry a lot of anger inside. And this isn't a bad thing. There's no mistakes. There's no mistakes in this life. We're not a victim to life. Nobody is a victim to life. There's no mistakes. Our life is created perfectly for our own unfoldment. Our life is created perfectly for our own awakening. And we have the choice whether we use the emotions, whether we use the challenging situations to awaken or not, to empower us or to disempower us. So anger that you may have had since childhood, that you may have repressed for many, many years, has within it an incredible potential. It holds within it an incredible power. So when somebody affronts you, when somebody makes you angry or something makes you angry, it might well be appropriate to express. I'm not someone who says don't express the anger. It's okay to tell someone to fuck off if you want to. It's okay to express anger sometimes. But what's even more important than that is to feel the pure energy of it, to feel the pure aliveness of the energy in your body. So right now, all of us, let's feel into the body. There may or may not be anger there, but anyway, feel into the body. It's usually the belly, the throat, the heart. You feel it. You breathe into it and you allow that anger, which wants to close you down into this victim, this angry, bitter victim. You allow that reaction, instead of closing you down, when you feel it, you breathe into it, you open to it, you allow it to expand you. You allow it to make you big. You allow it to grow your consciousness, Because what's happening on the planet now, so many people are waking up. So many people are in this awakening process. And what we need on this planet right now, with so much dysfunction, with so many horrible, unconscious things happening all the time on the planet. We don't need spiritual people just sitting in a cave, meditating, being at peace. We need spiritual people to be at peace, but we need spiritual people to be at peace and empowered, to be at peace and fearless, so that we can shine our gifts into the world, so that we can shine healing into the world. And one of the greatest doorways into our own empowerment, one of the greatest doorways into our ability to share our gifts, into our ability to share our light, into our ability to positively affect the world. One of the greatest doorways into that is the doorway of anger, of meeting our anger directly. Because when you meet that anger directly, you meet the pure energy of it. It opens something up within your consciousness, a fearless presence, a sharpness. And we need that. We need that to wake up on this planet. So moving on to the final point that I wrote down before I pass on to Alex's exercises. And I've just written down, know what you are, self-inquiry. Many of you will have heard of this. Many of you will be moving into this, maybe living from this. But what happens is we come into the world as a baby and our awareness is open, with this open beingness, with this open, vulnerable beingness. And then all of these painful experiences start happening to us. And we contract down and begin to believe ourselves to be this individual self that is separate from the world. The baby doesn't feel that sense of separation. The baby feels the world as themselves. They feel their consciousness expanded. They feel themselves deeply connected to everything around them. There's no separation between them and the world around them. But what happens when we grow up, become kids? Naturally, we start to feel ourselves as being this separate individual. I am this body. I am this person, separate from the world. And that brings with it a kind of existential fear, an existential fear that something is going to happen to me. Something's going to happen to me. Something's going to go wrong. And it is, something is going to go wrong for that self, because that self will not survive. But through self-inquiry, through spiritual work, we can come to intuit. We can come to know this place within ourselves, which is completely free. This space of awareness, which expands beyond the body. And we come to intuit that this awareness cannot be harmed. That this awareness cannot be harmed. That nothing can harm this awareness that we are. When we believe ourselves to be purely this body mind, it can be harmed, it can be hurt. And so naturally there's fear with that. Naturally that is disempowering. But when we come more and more to know our being, to know ourselves as this awareness, the awareness within which the body mind is arising, the awareness within which all the thoughts are arising and all the feelings are arising, there is a natural empowerment within that. You naturally stand up straighter. You naturally feel more confident. You become less afraid of what anybody else thinks of you, because you've always got this. This is the only thing that is reliable. The only thing that is reliable. And you always have it. You cannot lose it. So I'm just going to take you through a brief little inquiry. I was at a party the other night. I went to my brother's 30th birthday party, and I'd been on a 3-day retreat with my teacher, Ananta Kranti. So I was like really not in the place to be at a 30th birthday party with my brother and 100 of his drunk mates. And I turned up and they'd been boozing for 2 days at this point. And I turned up and there was a DJ and like all of these lads from school that I knew were coming up to me. Oh, Westy, like, how's it going, man? Like, oh, what are you up to? And I was just like, whoa, this is like really overwhelming. And then I decided, okay, to really enjoy this, I'm just going to be completely honest. If anyone asks me what I do, I'm going to just, as an experiment, just be completely honest. So people would ask what I do, and I'd be like, I'm just completely obsessed with spiritual awakening. I'm really just like going for this spiritual awakening thing. And it got people interested. What's really surprised me is people were really interested, like, oh, what's that? And this one guy, Righty, who I was friends with back at school, I hadn't seen him for about 10 years. He came up to me and he's like, he says, can you Chris West me? Because he's been seeing me like posting stuff on my Facebook or whatever. And I was like, he's like, just tell me something, that you must know something. And I don't know anything, but let me try and show you. So he puts his beer down, he puts his cigarette down. The DJ is right behind us, everyone with glow sticks and stuff. And I'm like, just look at me. And he's like, I'll try. And I'm like, don't try. I said, is there something right now which knows Johnny? And I'll ask this to you. Is there something right now which knows you? Is there something right now which is aware of you? Don't think about this. Don't think about this. Feel it. Something here knows. Something here knows your mind. Something here knows your body. There's a gentle presence here which knows every thought that moves through your mind, which knows every little personality part, personality quirk, which knows your body. So simple, this awareness that's here. And I asked Johnny to describe it to me. I said, is there something here that knows Johnny? And he says, yeah. And I say, what's that like? He said, it's warm. I'm like, yeah, nice. What else is it like? He says, it's expansive. Hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's quite expansive. And I said, is the music happening within this? And he said, yeah. And I said, are all the people here happening within this? And he said, yes. And then I said, what's the difference between you and that? And he said, that is me. And he was just with this big smile on his face. That is me. It's so simple. He wasn't having a big spiritual experience. He was just coming into the simple awareness that's here, the simple, gentle awareness that's here. And when you come into that awareness, and it might be a gradual process of coming to know it more and more intimately, more and more deeply, you come to intuit that awareness cannot be harmed, that awareness cannot die. And it brings this confidence. It brings you into this inner confidence. And it's a process of coming to know this more and more over time. So yeah, those three things. Stepping through the comfort zone, the most practical, obvious one. Feeling the feelings, overthinking, and coming to know this space of awareness, this free space of awareness, which you are in, which you, the body mind, are within. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to pass it on to Alex. If you have anything to add, or whether you just want to jump straight into the exercises.
Yeah, I'll just go for it, mate. Yeah, thanks for that. So welcome, guys. As I said, we're going to be doing some bioenergetics, in particular, the right to exist exercise, which is a lot to do with getting us in touch with our power, with our belly. And yeah, actually, when you was talking, Chris, it made me think you was talking about confidence. And I'm thinking, well, what is confidence? What does confidence look like? And a lot of people think it's, you know, somebody quite charismatic, somebody quite funny, looks good all the time. But actually, confidence in many ways is just courage. You know, somebody who's courageous, somebody who's willing to take a stand and move forward in life and go for the life that they want. And, you know, defining that a little bit more, we can strip it back to empowerment, or even further, getting in touch with this energy of anger underneath it. Like, anger gets a bad rap. But when we can really integrate this aggression into our body and into our being, we start to become more empowered. We start to become more courageous. And as a result of this, we become more confident. Yeah, as you was talking then, Chris, I could feel my mind getting busier and busier, because I knew it was getting to the point where I was going to have to talk. And it was like, it was reminding me I had to do a best man speech a couple of weeks ago. And my friend went first, and he was like 7 minutes going for it, and he had everybody laughing. And by the time it got to me, I'd just like zoned out, because it absolutely smashed this best man speech. But then, you know, there was a part of me which was okay, which felt fundamentally okay. Okay, I'm nervous. Okay, I've got to do this speech. Okay, I've got to try and get a few laughs. But ultimately, I'm okay. And I'm okay with my feelings. I'm okay with what I'm feeling, whether that be anxiety or anger or whatever it is. And that's what bioenergetics teaches us. It's a training in being okay with our feelings. It's a training in being okay with whatever's going on. I've got a client at the moment who, I won't go into too much detail, but she just lost both of her parents. And, you know, the therapy sessions are not about getting her to feel better or to move towards some positive outcome. It's more to do with getting her to be okay while she's not okay. And, you know, feeling the body, feeling these emotions like we're going to do now is a training that strengthens our resilience. So, yeah, I don't know if that was of any use, but I will go into the exercises. For those of you that's not done bioenergetics, I know some of you have, there's 3 elements, which is maintain a stretch, breathe deep in and out through the mouth, and we feel the body. Very important. I always say that they're all equally as important. But if I had to choose one, it's feeling the body. Feeling the body is the one that tends to get neglected. For the average person, we tend to be cut off from this feeling sense, this ability to feel the body, you know, usually due to so much thinking, so much activity up top. So we cut ourselves off from the body, basically. So maintain a stretch, breathe deep through the mouth, and really feel the body. And I'll demonstrate the exercises. See me okay? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah? Okay, so we're going to be working on a 90-second in. There's going to be 4 exercises, so 4 postures, and all of them are actually dynamic. All of them have got some movement. Quite often with bioenergetics, we can be in a static posture, but for these 4, they've all got movement, and they'll require a little bit of sound. We don't have to go into a full-on emotional release, but it does require us to use a little bit of sound, using sound from our belly as well. We're connecting down into our belly. But the first posture, which doesn't require sound, is some pull. So we'll put the hands behind the back, interlock the fingers, and then we do this pulsing like movement. Hopefully you can see. And we're just going to walk around the space, breathing deep in and out through the mouth and feeling the body. Now, what's important is that we stretch the arms up, not to the point of physical pain, but just to the point where we can feel the stretch. You know, it's around here for me that I can feel that it's got a little bit of an ache. And then if you feel to, you can push on the tailbone, pulsate. So it's like a pulsating movement. So tapping the tailbone, just like that. But what's important as we're moving around, we are breathing deep and feeling the body. Really try to stay present. It's very easy to switch off in these exercises. So the ding will go, and then we're going to do the reverse prayer, which is arms up straight above our heads, prayer-like posture, and then we start to do the reverse prayer. And we're just going to walk around, breathing deep and feeling the body. But what's important is try and keep the upper arm straight or relatively static. So the movement is in the elbows. Nice deep breaths. And as we're breathing, try to make the breath slightly audible. So it's not quiet breathing, it's a nice. So we're going to do that 2 times, and then we're going to go into the teenager release, which goes as follows. We're going to lift the shoulders up. So we'll have activated the shoulders with these movements. You should feel a slight ache starting to appear. And then we're going to go into the teenager release. So we lift the shoulders up and we throw the shoulders down. So we're like a pissed off teenager. We've had enough. We're throwing the shoulders down. Don't want to tidy the bedroom. Don't want to do my homework. I'm just pissed off. I've had enough. Throwing the shoulders down. But remember, it's the movement is in the shoulders. You'll see that my arms are not coming up. It's in the shoulders. So the shoulders come up, throwing them down. And what we're going to do, we're just going to, on the out breath, make a little bit of sound as follows. So on that out breath, really letting go and trying to connect with the belly. Feel into the belly. As that breath comes in, feel the body, feel the belly, and on the out breath, just really let go, making some sound, connecting, clearing this central channel. Once we have connection to our belly, that's when we start to feel empowered. So, gaze straight ahead. Then for the final exercise, the final posture is the right to exist. One of my favorite exercises, which is feet a bit more than shoulder width apart, nice bend in the knees. Well, not a nice bend, not a squat position, but bend in the knees, palms forward, facing out. And then we're going to flick the pelvis. So we flick the pelvis, feeling into the body. And of course, the movement is a sexual movement. We're flicking from the pelvis. Try to keep the spine straight. Try not to rock. It can be quite common when I lead this exercise that people like do this and they're hurling themselves all over. Really try to stay present. Flick the pelvis. My tailbone is static. My spine is straight. And my pelvis is moving. And what we're going to do, as I thrust forward, I'm going to make a grunt-like sound as follows. And this is coming from the belly. This is coming from the belly. And this is the right to exist. And, you know, it is very empowering. It is very empowering to do these types of postures. But it's also really important that we stay connected to the feeling. It might not feel empowering. You may feel silly. You may feel daft. It may be alien to you. It probably is. You know, how often do we do this type of work? For the average person, not so much. So if it does bring up feelings of, I don't know, like embarrassment or shame, or I feel a bit daft, silly, or you feel angry or whatever it is, just embody it. Bring it in. Bring it into the body. Bring it into your experience. Really important. So one more time. Flick the pelvis. And we're going to do that for 8 minutes. The ding will go, and then we're going to finish with a bit of shaking. Nice shake, not side to side. It's a vertical shake, allowing the energy to move up and down the body. Making sure we're nice and loose in the head. And we're still breathing deep. You know, when we get to the shaking part, it's not time to switch off. It's time to stay present, to stay with it. Chris, can we put the grunt track on when we do the right to exist?
Yeah, man, I'll put it on. I just want to say, when you were doing the grunting in the demonstrations then, the noise cancelling thing was coming on.
Oh, was it?
It was just, yeah, we couldn't really hear the grunting, but everyone know that you can grunt quite loudly. It was just dampening it down for Alex, something on
So the grunt it's a really low sound. I'll just describe it a little bit. It's not, I'm not shouting out. It's a low sound. It's like the lowest sound that the body can make. It's low and deep. You know, if we make a sound from the throat, it tends to be quite high pitched. Somebody who speaks from the belly or does this type of work and gets it down into the belly, it has a certain depth to it. So I don't know if you can hear that, but can you hear it?
Yeah, the first one you hear, and then it like makes it quieter. But yeah, we could hear that.
You show us how it's done, Chris. You've done this with me. Yeah, you've got it. We've got it. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna put the grunt track on, so you'll hear the sound. You'll hear what the grunt track sounds like. So if you just keep an eye on me, Chris, and I'll tell you when to cancel the grunt tracks. I think that goes for 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. How long's it going for? The right to exist?
We're going for 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So are we all good? We're ready to go? Yeah. Thumbs up. Nice. Right. Can't hear the ding either, but we go on. Okay. So the timer's on. We're starting with the hands interlocked, fingers interlocked, and we're walking around the space, tapping the tailbone, lifting the arms, feeling that stretch. But when you're walking around the space, don't switch off. It's small, mindful, meditative movements. Really staying present in the body. Slow, mindful movements with the feet and a tapping, pulsating movement with the arms, tapping the tailbone and feeling into the shoulders. It's such a great exercise to activate the shoulders. The reverse prayer and the one that we're doing now. And when we start to activate the shoulders, the more awareness can come down into the body and break up some of the tension in the shoulder area. There's the ding. Let's move into our second posture, bringing those arms nice and high. Reverse prayer. Roughly 1 second, but staying present, mindful movements. That's it, exactly as we are. Breathing deep in and out through the mouth. Bringing that breath down to the belly. deeper we breathe, the more we'll feel. And the feeling is where the healing happens. Staying present. There's the D. Then that comes to an end. Little shake out. Second rep. Arms behind the back, fingers interlocked. Breathing and feeling the body. And in fact, let's stand. Let's stop moving around. Let's stay where we are. This can often help just focus our attention a little bit more. We want to be on the edge of the comfort zone. Remember making that breath slightly audible, particularly on the out breath. Like you're getting in a nice hot bath. Just breathing your way through it. Stick with it. There's the ding. Little shake out. And we go round again. Reverse prayer. And same again. Let's stay where we are. Let's keep static. Nice grounded stance. Bending the knees. And really breathing deep. The eyes are open, the gaze is straight ahead, and we are staying present. The mind usually leaves as soon as any discomfort starts to arise. The mind leaves, we disassociate, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a pain, whether it's tiredness, anything at all. The mind likes to leave. It avoids pain at all costs. But in this exercise, we are breathing towards it. We are welcoming it. We are empowering ourselves to feel okay, even when it doesn't feel okay. Or should I say, be okay when things don't feel okay. Sticking with it, guys. We're doing good. Letting that go. There's the ding. Let's do a bonus round. Let's do a third round. I did say 2. Let's mix it up. Starting that pulsating. We can do it. Maybe your shoulders, your hands, your arms are activated, or maybe not. Maybe nothing's happening. But it's often the case, if you have the intention to feel the body, then you will come back to the body. The intention is enough. We can do it. Stick with it. Pulsating movement. Activating the shoulders. Opening the throat, opening the mouth, letting sound come out. Trying not to force any sound. Just allowing the body to respond. Okay, there's the ding. Letting that go. A quick shake out before we go into our final reverse prayer. Let's go for it, guys. Taking it on, using that breath. Using that breath, staying present. When I say staying present, that's not the mind staying present. That's connecting to presence. The body is presence. The body doesn't know past or future, in a sense. So we do that by feeling. Feeling the body taps us into presence. Doing great, guys. Stick with it. That's it. We've got it. Taking it on, guys. Sticking with it. If you're not on mute, mute yourselves. Well done, guys. There's the ding. Let's have a quick shake out. Quick shake out. And we're going to go into our teenager release. So as we start this, let's bring up the shoulders. Let's take a nice grounded position. Yeah. Bending the knees, shoulders up, and throw the shoulders down. Now, I know some of you have done this with me before, but I want you to just allow the shoulders to move quite rapidly. I think when we've done it, or when I've taught it in the past, we threw the shoulders down like this. But now we're allowing the shoulders some movement to shake out. And on that out breath, really let go of a bit of sound. So I'm literally just breathing out and allowing any sound to come out that wants to leave. And usually this travels up from the belly. It comes up from the belly through the central channel into the throat and then out. Keeping it going. There we go. Yeah, keep that movement going. Taking it on to stay present. Remember, pissed off teenager, I've had enough. Doesn't have to be something from teenage years. It could be now. It could be now I've had enough with the way things are. Maybe it's the relationship. Maybe it's financial worries. Maybe it's your living situation. Whatever it is, just put it out. A bit of sound to it, a bit of expression. Ugly face. Deep from the belly. Deep breaths. Keep it going. Make sure them shoulders are moving. You see, my shoulders are moving up and down. That's it. The movement is in the shoulders. The hands are nice and loose. The backbone is upright. The spine is straight. We're grounded and we're letting go. Keep it going. We can do it. We can do it. Shoulders up, shoulders down. If the mind's coming in, acknowledge it and come back to what we're doing. We've got this. 20 seconds left on the clock. Let's keep it going. Let's finish strong. Shoulders up, shoulders down. Pissed off teenager. Had enough. Let's go. Make sure you're letting go with a little bit of sound. Okay, let's slowly start to bring that to an end. Quick shake out with the legs, arms, wrists. And we're going to go into our final phase, which is the right to exist. Let's stay present. We're doing great. And remember, just give me 1 second, Chris. The feet are a bit more than shoulder width apart. Nice grounded stance, bending the knees, and the hands are forward like this. It's almost like a gripping sensation. And once we've got this, we start to flip the pelvis. Flip the pelvis. As I said, it is a sexual movement, but embody it. Really embody it. Allow it. Whatever it brings up is important. Flicking the pelvis. And we're having this attitude that I have the right to exist. I have the right to be here. So, and as we flip forward, we make a grunt-like sound. So we're going to start the grunt track, Chris, and we'll go for it. 8 minutes. We've got this. Let's take it on. That's it. Trying to go in sync with the grunt. I think it's about 0.8 of a second. So taking it on to try and go in time with it. Making the grunt. Feeling into the belly. That's it. We're flicking the pelvis. I have the right. I have the right. The right to exist. The right to be here. Take it on. Whatever it's bringing up. Whatever it's bringing up. Allow it. Allow it to be there. This is how we become empowered. This is how we become stronger. By feeling what's there. Having an hands forward. I want to take something. Ugly face. Stick the jaw out. Eyes open, staring straight ahead. Feeling into the belly, feeling into the lower back. Keep feeling the body, staying present. Gripping sensation with the hands, like you want to take something. I have the right. I deserve the very best. That's it, guys. Keep it going. Flicking the pelvis forward, grunting as we thrust forward. Keep it going. Take it on. We've got it. If you drift off, switch off, whatever, come back. It's the intention. A low grunt. Keep it going all the way to the end. Very primal movement. Connecting us with our animal nature. Present in the body. And embodied this aggression. It's like a low-level aggression. Stick the jaw out. Be pissed off. Give yourself permission. I've had enough. Feel the belly, feel the grunt, feel the power. And if it doesn't feel powerful, if it feels disempowering, do it anyway. Okay, let's start to let that come to an end. Not in a rush. Slowly allowing that to come, have a little shake out. Well done. But staying present. Yeah. Okay, guys. We're just going to move into a couple of things of shaking. But before we do that, let's just breathe and feel the belly. We can put our hand on our belly, our lower belly, maybe one on the solar plexus, and just feel. Feel if that brought anything up for you. It's quite often that we have these parts of ourselves hidden in the belly, repressed so deeply that they're out of awareness. So just start to feel into the belly, maybe feeling the contact of the hands on the belly. And it's almost like we're looking around with our awareness, we're exploring with awareness or as awareness. Now letting the hands come to our side and softly start to shake just from the legs. A very, very soft shake. You may be able to sense a natural, spontaneous movement. And if not, just fake it until you make it. And we can start to increase the shake a little bit. And stay present with the body as we do this though. And we do that by breathing deep and feeling. And if you like, you can put the hands out in front and lean back. So we're kind of pushing the pelvis forward. If it feels safe to do so, not too dizzy or feel sick or something like that, then an invitation would be to just push the pelvis a little bit forward. The gaze is straight ahead. The hands are out in front of us and the wrists are nice and loose. The shoulders, the chest, the belly, the back, everything is just coming along for the ride, nice and loose. The head is just bobbing away. Really important that we keep the head and neck nice and loose and that we keep breathing. Maybe extending or putting a little bit more emphasis on the out breath. You can keep the eyes open or closed. What's important is that we stay feeling the body. And this is the integration phase of the exercise. It's a way to integrate anything that may have come up. It's not actually the shake as such that integrates, it's the feeling sense which integrates. But the shake can just be a nice way to start to relax and loosen the body. And the more relaxed we are, the more we'll feel, the more we surrender in a sense. But for now, let's bring that shake to an end and find our way back to a seated position. Staying present, guys. Stay present with the body. Yeah, let's just sit. Let's just sit. We don't have to come back immediately. You can feel into the feet, the ankles, the lower legs. Just notice the natural movement of the breath. And as we do this, we can feel into different parts of the body. Really good to utilize the breath. Feeling into the belly. And just noticing as the breath comes in, the body lights up. You can sense more energy in the body with the in-breath. And then as the breath goes out, the body tends to get heavier, like a letting go quality. And it is important when we do this type of work that we allow time for integration, whether that be meditation or sitting and breathing, feeling the body, relaxing, whatever we want to call it. It's important just to have some downtime. But I'll wrap things up there, guys. Yeah, huge well done to everyone. It's not the it's not the easiest of workouts. I often find the right to exist for a lot of people can be quite confrontational to do that type of movement. It's yeah, so well done for taking it on. And if you have any questions about this that you want to ask me privately or in this session, feel free to do so. You can message either me or Chris. But I shall pass the baton back to you, Chris.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Yeah, always feel quite enlivened in my body after these sessions. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, so I will invite you all to just feel into how your body feels now compared to before the workshop started. And how does your consciousness feel now before the workshop started? And by consciousness, I mean the field within which your mind is arising. The presence, the gentle presence which is here, listening to these words. And that gentle presence knew every moment of that bioenergetics session. That gentle presence was sitting there smiling while you were doing all these strange movements and sounds. And that gentle presence is still here, smiling as we sit. When I say smiling, that can be very, very subtle. A subtle, 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 slight smile inside the heart. Whether there's emotions present or not, it makes no difference to the presence that you are. The sweet presence that you are. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to move on to questions for the last 5 minutes or so. Before we do that, lots of you will know about the course we have, but some of you may not know about it. So we'll just mention we've got a 10-week journey called Back to the Body. And we've changed it slightly now. So there's 2 ways you can do it. It's either a self-study course, which is the cheaper version, which is cheaper than what we used to sell it for. And then there's the gold package, which includes one-to-one sessions with me and Alex. So we also want to give you for everyone who came here live, we want to give you a voucher. So if you use the voucher code Back to the Body 100, then you get £100 off the gold package, which is with the one-to-one sessions. And if you use the voucher code Back to the Body 50, then you get £50 off the self-study package. Maybe I'll just write that in the chat because everyone might be a bit spaced out. I'm just going to write the codes into the chat. Okay, back to the body 100. So that's for the gold package with the one-to-one sessions. 50. And then you can use that code for the standard package. And you got it, they last for 24 hours. So if you sign up within 24 hours, then you can get the discounted price. And I'm just going to pop the link for the course into the chat as well. Yeah, and you're very welcome to join either with the one-to-ones or the self-study program. Alex, would you like to say a little bit more about the course for anyone who hasn't heard of it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so the course is 10 weeks, and each week there is a theme, and I can't remember it all off the top of my head, but we kind of start with like grounding the first couple of weeks, and then we move on to things like anxiety and depression, empowerment, sexuality, spirituality. So there's loads of different themes, and I've tailored bioenergetic exercises to do with these themes, basically. And that's each week, and it's a real deep dive into each one of these themes. You know, I guess in a sense this was empowerment, so you'd have like 9 different other themes to do if you was to sign up for the course. And then Chris also offers, well, maybe you could say what you offer on the course.
Yeah, so each week from Alex you'll get a workshop like this, and then from me, you'll get a 30-minute video lesson. It's called A Practical Guide to Embodied Awakening. So it's a really sort of meditative, practical guide for getting out of the head and into the body. So every week you'll get a lesson from me, and then every week from me, you'll also get a guided meditation back into the body. So it's a real full, thorough journey. And you'll have practices to do every day or every other day, depending on how committed you are to the process. But yeah, cool. So does anybody have any questions either about what we did today or anything at all? Then now's the time.
You can either raise your hand or put a question in the chat if you're not a fan of talking on camera. Ash, yeah, can you unmute yourself?
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Ash, good to see you.
Good to see you too. So I was just wondering about how to handle triggers that come up with the body movements or the exercises, like if you feel an overwhelming emotion coming up as you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think just feeling the body is the advice I give. You know, if anything is coming up, as long as it's not overwhelming to the point where you think it may cause you some sort of psychological distress, you know, if you can kind of stay on the edge of that feeling, I'd say breathe deep and feel into it. But also if it's really too much, if it's really intense, it's okay just to stop, take a break, maybe have a walk around, lie down, and yeah, you know, even doing that, you can still breathe and feel the body. Maybe the workout's a little bit too much, but just stopping and breathing and feeling the body will definitely give you something. But I'd encourage you, the best you can would be to stick with it and breathe into it. Breathe into it. There's often like a little shift that happens, you know, it kind of builds up and it's like, whoa, this is intense, this is scary. But as we tend to it and we embrace it and almost love it and welcome it, it tends to reduce in intensity from my experience. And it can, you know, occasionally become quite blissful to feel these really sort of powerful emotions. But
So if an emotion,
also sorry, yeah, go on, what would you say?
I'm wondering if like a release wants to happen, like tears want to come, or like if you feel like you want to scream, just let it happen. Is that sort of what you're saying?
If you're in an environment where you can do that, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and also, I mean, it can be good to kind of gauge it a little bit, like, is the mind trying to get involved? Like, I think back to when I first started doing this work and I could feel like a little bit of sadness. So my mind would get involved and try to, I'm not saying this is happening with you, but it's just a good thing to take note of, is that the mind would then try to create crying. Or if I felt a certain level of anger, the mind would then try to get me pissed off. But actually the natural release of the body was going to take care of it in a much more functional, integrated way. So just kind of being a little bit vigilant is like, is this really wanting to come up and I can't control it? If that's the case, let's allow it. Or is the mind trying to create something? With bioenergetics, we're kind of leaving the mind behind, and it doesn't like it. It wants to get involved. You know, it's been in the driver's seat for so long that we're saying, you know, get in the back seat and I'm going to let the body take over. Sounded a bit weird that, get in the back seat. But yeah, you get the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So don't go into a story about it, sort of like let the feeling be there. Okay. Yeah, I think
Don't try to create something. Don't try to create a particular outcome. In a way, it's kind of human nature that we want the release. You know, we kind of think, if I have one big cry, if I have one big scream, you know, there was like the primal scream therapy in the 70s or the 80s. Or if you've seen the films like Good Will Hunting, where at the end he has this big cry and that's him, he's sorted from that point. It's like in our minds that we think that that's the case, but it's not really like that, I don't think. Or it's not been like that for me or anyone I've known. It tends to be a process of just letting go bit by bit and allowing it to come up naturally.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you, Ash. Any other questions, guys? Or if there's anything you wanted to add, Chris, maybe to what Ash just said.
Yeah, I think it was great what you said, like it's an art not to force things. We're so used to controlling our experience that it's an art to allow the body to move and release the way that it wants to move and release. And sometimes we'll force a bit and afterwards you might just feel a bit, you'll feel it in your system. Your system will know whether the screaming or the catharsis or whatever has been a natural flow or not. But also it's good to know that there's an intelligence to this unfolding. And we can't actually get it wrong. It's good to keep coming to workshops and getting pointers and stuff like that. But there's an intelligence moving your awakening. There's an intelligence moving your healing. If we could mess it up, none of us would get there. It's like we would mess it up. The mind would just mess it up, but it won't. Like, keep doing the work. If the intention's pure, and your intention is for healing, your intention's for awakening. And if that's sincere, and if that is really sincere, then it will take you where you want to go, if it's sincere. And if you really are committed to it. Yeah, that's what I would add. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, any other questions?
As I say, you can put them in the chat if you feel to. But if not, we can start to wrap things up here, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's really nice to see you all. Really nice to be with you all. Yeah. It's good, the familiar faces coming back as we do these workshops. So it's really nice.
Mm.
Okay, so if there's no questions, should we end it there?
Yeah, well done, guys. Stick with it and keep breathing and feeling the body this evening. Can be quite evocative. So take lots of care of yourself and be kind.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Take care. Goodbye.
Cheers, guys.